They got 4 excited about that. So it was really special to see her job.
Let's start the meeting at 6 o'clock on the pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Randy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Where do we have open forum?
We do not have them.
No open forum. Thank you. Move on to 3.1, One Act State Festival Competition. And that was in Brandon on February 5th to 7th. They received a Superior Award at the state competition. Wyatt Alson, Kevin Crow, and Nevaeh Thomas also received Superior Actor Awards. So that's a pretty cool accomplishment. Anybody have kids that participate? Sure.
I did, but I unfortunately didn't get to attend. My husband did though. He said they did a phenomenal job. So he was very, very impressed with them.
Do we move on to nationals or anything like that, or you just stay there?
Just to say
Very good. So, staff recognitions is February 2nd through 6th is Counselors Week. So appreciation for all of our counselors across the buildings. And Barb Miller was nominated by Guardian for a statewide award for staff to make an outstanding impact on students. 102 nominees across the state, so that's pretty cool. Anything to add to that, principals? Move on to 3.3, School Board Recognition Week. It's us to recognize us. Congratulations, board. You're recognized. Anything to add?
Yes.
Any recognitions?
So this is about the associate school boards across South Dakota. Each year they do a great job of sending out to school boards, to the public, and recognize the board members for what you guys do and serving. It's interesting. If you guys are following the legislative session right now, the X that's on the mark of backs of K-12 educators, and a lot of it is directed back at school boards and school board members. And it's all about local trust that's established. And I can tell you guys as a school board that I feel very fortunate, our administration feels very fortunate, I'm sure the teachers do as well, to be working with school board members that truly are looking out for the best interest of our kids and our teachers at all times. It doesn't mean that we don't make tough decisions, because we do have to make tough decisions. But I can say that this is a school board, and listening to some of the stories that are said in legislative session, that have done the right things. And with that, just know that we appreciate everything that you guys do for our kids and for our staff members. All right, so here's your little certificate of appreciation.
So thank you. Thank you.
We have one for everyone.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, sir. Move on to 3.4, recent donations to Melissa and Custer Elementary Schools. There's a lot in here. Were you wanting me to read all of them, or what was your thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we've had some donations received by multiple agencies. Looks like it's for Hermosa and Custer Elementary. So Battle River Lodge gave us $3,500 in school supplies for Hermosa. Edward Jones, Chris Zerby's office and staff dropped off gloves, hats, and coats for CES families. Christmas for Kids, Corey Virtue dropped off presents to CES families in need. Local Realtors for Kids, Christmas gifts for families. The Conco family recently gave to the Angel Fund for students in need in memory of Aaron Conco, a former junior, senior high school sped paraprofessional. Donations received monthly for Carmen's Corner, used for the purchase of books for CES Library in memory of former librarian Carmen. Yep, Kite. Thank you. Scott and Mary Oshie donated for fax classroom and a scholarship for any senior student attending the state school this coming fall. Scholarship will be awarded to a student who are our next generation of innovators, problem solvers, and community leaders. Scholarship will be awarded to students planning a career in engineering, science, or mathematics. Custer Youth and Alumni Foundation, teacher grants to Isaac Parsons, Kelsey Yanumanis, Katie Frieden for Generation Genius subscription, Connie Virtue's class trip to Hermosa Pumpkin Patch, Thea Teasley for library supplies. Family Fun Night donations for CES came from Carson Drug, Christina Kednacker, Southern Hills Medicine, HJEM, Restaurant Custer, I've never figured out how to pronounce it. Him. Okay. VFW number 3442. South Dakota Mines donated goggles to Miss Reed's science classroom. Like I said, there's a lot in there, and those are very much appreciated to all the communities. Anything to add? Good. Principals? Nothing? Thank you. We have no conflicts of interest for this meeting. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thanks, Heath.
I'll second.
Thanks, Sarah. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And then we'll move on to 6.1, which is our audit presentation by Katie Peterson. And it does not tell me what your name is, so introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Danetta, and I am a manager at Casey Peterson. And I have worked on the district's audit for probably close to 8 to 10 years, so quite a long time. So I'm planning to keep it pretty brief for you guys today. Just wanted to go over how the audit went and just some real basic information. I just want to say Sarah and Terry did a great job. We asked for a lot during the audit, so we appreciate their hard work in getting us all the information that we asked for. And this year there was one finding in the audit just related to us actually preparing the financial statements on the district's behalf, which is something that is very, very common. I would say probably a good 98% of our audits have that finding. And I would say probably most of the districts in the state also probably have that. So that's not anything I would be concerned about by any means. But everything else went really well. There were no other findings that we came across as part of the audit. We did do an audit over some of the federal dollars that you received also, and we tested the expenditures related to the Title I dollars and the sped dollars this year. And we had no findings over either of those programs either. So just wanted to say that everything went really smoothly this year. And we did note that looking at the fund statements, there were more expenditures than receipts this year, primarily related to the spending on the construction of the new building and all of the things that went with that. So nothing that I think anybody was, at least from our perspective, there was nothing unusual with that. And then we had what we called clean opinions. So there was no, I guess, we call it an unmodified opinion. So that's the opinion that the audit wants. So definitely a good audit report for the district. And then we do have in your board packet what we call financial performance measures, and that's just some analytics and things that we like to go over as part of the audit and things that we want to give to you for your review. So if you look at those and have any questions on any of that information, definitely feel free to reach out also. And do you guys have any questions? I guess for me as part of the audit.
Doesn't appear so.
Okay. Like I said, wanted to try to keep it pretty brief for you guys today. So, and if you read through it, end up having any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to answer any questions.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sarah, Terry, anything to add to?
Thank you. We absolutely appreciate you guys. Casey Peterson is so easy to work with. They will answer questions for us at a moment's notice. They've helped us, guide us, lead us through this program, got us into that helping part at the start. And I think we're making a really good team. So we really do appreciate you guys. Thank you. And thank you for being here to tell us that in person.
Yeah, yep. And I would like to say things definitely are, I would say on the up and up, and everything's getting cleaner every year. So as everybody gets more experience, and there was some transition with Lisa leaving and then Robert, and then just all the transition in such a short amount of time, I would say that things definitely are going very well. At least from our perspective, so yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
all.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Do we need to approve this presentation? Just making sure. Any other questions for Sarah, Terry?
Casey Peterson. Definitely feel free to reach out. Yeah. Definitely feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to answer you. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Facilities is empty, is that supposed to be? You haven't had anything empty in facilities for a long time.
No, we're good. Sure? Yeah.
Well, I like to hear it. New building's up, moving, and everybody's in it. We're not talking about it for a while.
Right.
Sounds good. Move on to business and finance, monthly cash flow. Sarah, Terry,
Yep, the report is included for your review. You do notice that preschool is in that negative. I do think this month I will be able to transfer some of our grant money and bring that up to a positive for a while. This is actually a little bit better shape than we were in with preschool last year. We do anticipate this running in the negative by the end of the year. We have a planned transfer of money there. Otherwise, everything else is going right as it's supposed to. We did do our last Kurt's payment last month. We had our last architecture incorporated payment this month. I'm not sure if we're gonna get another engineer from FMG bill. But otherwise, I think we're done with CTE bills as well, so we should see capital outlay expenditures decrease quite a
So
bit.
FMG wasn't part of the architect's total?
No, they're, in the other sheet that I have for you, it says architecture and engineering, so is there, but they operate separately, so we get separate invoices from them.
That's just because all the other engineers fall under the architect.
Yep, they bill us separately.
but does the total still equal the arc
Total?
that we, or is it a separate one?
Because we only approved the one amount for Arcane.
Correct, and this is in addition to that. So they did, we did pay that $674, whatever it was, they did charge us another $15,000 on top of that, and then FMG is a totally separate bill that we paid out. I can get that number for you, what we paid them.
That seems very odd.
I'll look into that one. Terry's talking about the election. Their total.
I think we should question Arcane about that just because that's not normal.
It wasn't how we did our most thing.
It was all a lump sum to the design team.
Or we can look into that.
Thank you. Anything else on the cash flow, or do you want me to move on to
I don't have anything else to give you.
school board election? Terry?
Yes, the petitions are available for circulation through the 24th of March, at which time they are due at 5 p.m. And we have 3 openings, 3-year terms each, and if you know anybody that's interested, please have them stop by and pick up a petition.
Do you know if we've had anybody pull petitions? You don't, we can't say who, but numbers.
People in the room that might have picked up could say that they did, but I don't.
Well, I just mean to be like one person, 2 people.
We're not supposed to.
Who needs a campaign?
I can't.
That's what we're saying.
Until they're back.
Until we receive them back and they've been verified and then they're public knowledge.
I got you. So we haven't received it back.
Correct.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. Any questions on the election board?
Campaign manager.
Okay, we'll move on to 8.3, plus a winter meeting update. Terry and Sarah.
I just want to bring your attention, if you looked at the agenda online, the photograph that is there that has been posted on the NAPIS website, Sarah submitted that, and they included it on their website, which is a phenomenal thing. So Sarah can get more information.
Our pictures in the national.
Yes, it is.
Correct, if you pull
Right.
up SAC.org, you're right there.
Yeah, you're all famous.
I can see that I can use scissors, it's all good.
Yep. Very sharp.
They work.
All right, so in addition to you guys being so famous, we did attend the meeting for 2 days in with the rest of the FLISA group, and we were very fortunate that the new executive director of NAFIS was there with us for the entire set of meetings. We've not seen a director do that before, so that was incredible. We all got to know her personally. We've been exchanging emails since then. She actually used one of my pictures in a national bulletin that they sent out on Friday. So we made some really good contacts at this meeting in addition to doing the work that we're going to present when we go to Washington, D.C. in March to talk to our congressional representatives. And what Sharice, the executive director, wanted to us to pass on to our boards is that our work is working. This is one of the very few education programs that saw any increase in funding this year. In fact, they've got a $5 million increase when most other programs were getting cuts or level funded, and we got a $5 million increase. Our piece of that gets $1 million of those dollars to be shared amongst the federal lands. So she stressed that it's really important to keep showing out. Those visits to Washington are really important, and she said to please thank your school boards for all of their support. Well, did you want to mention the leave behind, the kudos we got there?
Yes, there is also in the board agenda attachments, a copy of what we call a leave behind. And excuse me, our group that we meet with twice a year outside of DC actually created this, and we updated according to what is currently happening in the legislature and legislation, excuse me. And she commented that she has heard from several people in DC that they received these and that they made a difference and that they made an impact, and that not all groups do something like this, and they really appreciated the information and being so concise and on a small handout that they could reference later.
Thank you. Questions, board? Thank you very much. Move on to 8.4, introduction to SD Fit.
Yeah, very briefly, SD Fit is another opportunity for us to invest money, a place for us to put money that gives us a better interest rate than our bank account. If you look back at the financials page, and you look in our savings account, we have over $5 million in our savings account at First Interstate Bank at the moment that is getting 1.88% interest. SD Fit at the moment can offer us about 3.5% interest. So it would be lovely to be able to get that instead of that 1.88%. I did reach out to First Interstate and say, this is what we're looking at. What do you think about this? And they said, well, we could give you a 30-day extension. We could give you 3.32% for 30 days. And I said, well, we're looking for much more long-term than that. We can maybe also do this through RBC. Right now, our RBC accounts are getting 3.3%. So we need to evaluate what is really the best option for us and for our money. At the moment, we have the authority to put money at RBC, and at First Interstate, we do not have the authority for SD Fit. So if you think that would be something that we could look into, we would need a board motion and able to pursue that.
So just a question, if we have that RBC account, why do we have it just sitting in savings?
Traditionally, we've only been able to use that for treasury bills, which get tied up for months and months at a time, and you can't access your money. They just recently were able to give us a money market account there, so we could take some of this $5 million and we could put it in RBC. I just want to make sure we're getting where we can get the absolute best rate for our money. And even if it's 0.05% more on South Dakota Fit, I think SD Fit, I think it's worth it to pursue that. We actually have an account there already that somebody opened up in the past. It's not active, but we already have an account at SD Fit that I need to look into a little bit more if you wish to authorize
Is
that.
there anybody in it?
There's not, unfortunately. No, somebody's got one of like 17 cents she keeps out, so that wasn't, so we've got zero.
What are like the terms, months, years, stuff that we would have to leave that there, and penalties if we need to pull out?
There are not any of that. It's a money market savings account basically, so we can put all of our money in there, we can take it all out immediately, we could let it sit in there for the next 20 years and just take bits and pieces at a time. At the moment, it has the best interest rate that I've seen.
Good.
Working through SD Fit, you will have term options with it though.
Okay.
How long you can have it, it's 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. They're very competitive, and they also have a tendency to make the people around you more competitive. That's why a lot of school districts and cities, counties utilize SD Fit.
With SD Fit, is there like a minimum anywhere to get this best interest rate, or is just, that's just what it is?
It's what it is.
So we could put $1 million in and still get that 3.5, or put 5 in and still get, there's
And we
no
can
different levels.
Yep, and sorry to cut you off. And we can have access to our money the next day. It's less than 24 hours and we can get back if we needed to transfer that money to pay for our board bills. We can do it within the day. It's just like, it's gonna operate exactly the way that First Interstate is working for us right now, really. It just has much better terms.
What backs this, whatever this is? Guarantee that we're not just gonna all of a sudden, our money's gone. It's like a banks have, I don't know, they're insured or something.
The FDIC.
Yeah.
I've just never heard of this, is what I'm asking.
I hadn't either. They left us some promotional materials at our office one day we were gone, and we didn't really even look at it very seriously. This group came and spoke with us at our Region 4 meeting a couple weeks ago, and they said that they have hundreds of other organizations in the state, city governments, local governments, county governments. So this is who they specialize in. So everybody kind of pools their money in there together, which is one of the guarantees. And the more money they get in there, the more opportunity they have to be able to pay out and give back.
Okay, I'm just curious.
And on that flyer, it says the PMA Financial Network LLC and the PTMA Financial Solutions. They're part of those, whatever. If you can read it sideways.
So I got my huge decades
I
there.
know, that's what I was
Still
thinking.
thinking it's
And so the motion just needs to be the option to move money there. And then you guys will bring to us what path you think is going to be.
Correct.
Then we can decide how much or if, or
Yes.
They just need a motion so that they have that option.
I'll make a motion to approve that as an option.
I'll second
Any
it.
board approval?
Yeah. Larry and Randy, any discussion?
Before,
All for
do we still, I'm trying to remember those last year, we had all that interest from T-bills. Do we still have money sitting in that whole T-bill?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, it is not currently in T-bills, but it is an RBC and a money market account, so we have two accounts there. We have one that has all of our impact aid money, which we want to keep as impact aid money, and then we do have the interest money that we had from these certificates that we took out to get the loan for the CTE building. So we have, there was some initial money that was there, about $500,000, and all of the interest on that, so there's over $1 million that is sitting there that we do at some point have to talk about what you guys want to do with that, and where you want to put that, and how we want to use it. And that is the RBC.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm still trying to find this out about that machine. I'm getting there.
Move on to 8.5. We need to approve a Hermosa Leadership Class Custodial account. This is something new. Hopefully you guys have read through the documentation. Because it looks like a pretty cool program. I see Jody here, so is she gonna talk to us?
I think we're gonna have a little presentation. Sweet.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Dr. Frederick. My name is Carla Smale, and the person passing out the papers is Brianna Anderson. I'd like to mention how this year in our leadership class, we have been focusing on how we can use leadership to make a real difference in our community. We have already completed several successful service projects, including our haunted house food drive, putting together holiday food baskets for local families, and launching a mentorship program where we get to work with and guide our younger peers. But tonight, I'm really excited to announce our new project for the year, the Hive to Pride 5K Fun Run. The name Hive to Pride celebrates the journey we took from being Hermosa Hornets to becoming Custer Wildcats. The goal of this race is to bring our community together, but more importantly, to invest in our future. 100% of the registration fees from this event will fund a brand new college scholarship. This scholarship will be awarded to the graduating Custer High School senior who is an alumni of the Hermosa School. We want to help a student who has started right here in these halls. Inside your packets, you will find a flyer and information sheet about the event, a copy of the scholarship application so you can do the essay requirements, and finally, a registration form. We would love to see the school board members participating on May 3rd, whether you run, walk, or just come to cheer. Your support would mean a lot to our class and to the scholarship fund. Thank you for your time and letting us share our work with you.
We want to know from a school board perspective, can we do it as a relay?
We're gonna use the school vehicle.
Did you have any questions?
Board, do you guys have any questions for these young ladies? There's a phenomenal amount of work that has gone through all the paper that's in front of you. I reviewed it earlier today. I think this is a pretty cool project for 8th grade class leadership in Hermosa to do.
And if you want to just make a donation, can you just do the QR code or?
I think that's just a Google form to register for the event. But all the payments can be dropped off, registration fees and stuff can be dropped off to the office.
Perfect.
So we do need a motion to approve the custodial account so that the money can get put somewhere. And then do we need to approve the fundraiser? No, just the custodial account. And if there's any questions for these ladies, then.
I'll make a motion to approve the custodial account. I think this is amazing.
I'll second that.
I got one question, Bob. How many other custodial accounts are here in the?
I just shared that, you have it, Sarah?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that question's been asked a few times the last few years.
Is that this number up here? Would be 71, that's,
Oh, that's the
no,
fun.
that's the fund, okay, then I don't know, a lot.
In Hermosa, there's only 3. So the majority of them are in Custer High School to be specific.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, I was just wondering to make sure there's one not being used that we've already got open.
So we have a motion and a second. I believe it was Sarah that seconded.
Yes.
Any other discussion, questions, praises, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. You guys share this on the Facebook page?
We have a meeting with the town board, it's our last, who we got a jumper. So
Okay.
we have a couple students who will be attending the Hermosa town board meeting next week.
Awesome.
And then we'll start here.
Awesome. No, that's
Oh,
fine.
this is fantastic.
This is awesome. This is great.
45.
Well done.
45.
45.
Thanks, ladies. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Nice work.
If I may revisit the FMG question.
Yes, please.
I just looked back in our files and we did pay FMG independently during the Hermosa building project as well, so it was not under the umbrella of Architecture Incorporated, they were paid separately.
But did the totals add up? I understand paying them separately, but
We didn't print over nothing, their fee.
a separate amount for them, that's what I don't.
Right, it went into those other fees that are part of the building, the amount that Jeremy told us, we did pay to Architecture Incorporated with that extra $15,000 in there. This is on top of that, that is an additional fee for the CT building, yeah, it was for.
What was the total for the
For that,
FMG?
yep, 55,720, I have the right dates in here. Make sure I have the right dates. I think that's probably a little high.
Unless I'm forgetting, because I know we approved Arc Inks, and I don't ever remember discussion about approving any amount for FMG.
I do not believe that we did that. But as the engineering, dirt work, groundwork, that was a requirement to do the project, but you're right, I don't believe.
But like the mechanical engineer, structural, electrical, there's like 6 other engineer fees that were all part of Arc Inks. I just don't understand why that one wouldn't be. It's
Or part of Curtis, one of the two.
somebody's, we had to approve all these amounts, so they just randomly give us whatever they want.
That our total amount, no higher than what we told.
Yeah, the total amount for the CTE building is on that second, the budget to actual printout, so you can see what those numbers are. And then I have FMG included with Architecture Incorporated, I believe. And the total that we paid them was $52,221 for the CTE building.
FFG. Now, was a bunch of that related to that city water line project? That was kind of, I could see that taking a lot of civil engineering.
Let's see, we called these things CTE
Maybe
survey,
it's most of that
geotechnical
extra
service,
contract.
boundary
That
topographic.
would be about half of what
Construction testing.
that total, because that was 120.
Didn't we already pay our part of that whole project through the city?
Because we paid it all, and they reimbursed us.
Yep, and the city, the
Was that
amount for the city
amount
reimbursement
though,
was on that sheet as well.
If it was part of that, was it included in that split?
Yeah, I don't know. Or did we spend twice?
Those tests.
Okay.
We'll check into it.
I think we should.
We can look
just
at that.
need clarity on this.
I remember us approving 9.5 million for the project. And we're at 9.5 and 96,000. 96,000 over. That's, we'll have to figure out.
Well, the reimbursement from the city is included in there too, and it did include the grants, which did allow us to buy some extra things that we wouldn't have done, the workforce only would have. So the grant total cost of the district is less than 9 million.
Yeah, the cost of the district was 8.9, so I guess we're still under the. Okay, yeah, we'll have to try to understand that better. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
I guess it just keeps raising, because where we approved the architect, if we had proposals and bids, did we legally need to do that with the civil? I want to make sure we're in compliance, with whatever that is. I mean, it's really too late now, but it seems a little messy.
It did seem like that was their design team,
They were part of,
the design team.
that's what makes me think that money was for all that water line project separate from the actual building.
Right, looks like new facilities committee got some more work to do.
Don't have like space.
First meeting in July.
I'm gonna pull up one of the invoices from them just to see if it has specific language as to what they call it. What we put in our notes is site testing for most of them. Let me see if they said anything more specific.
That was before.
Well, if it was testing, that's different. Testing was specifically.
Geothermal,
Yeah, earthwork testing, this one says engineering.
That would have been before the approval.
Yeah, they mostly just put in their construction site testing a survey.
So that's
So
probably.
we can follow up with them and try to get some more
So
information.
that's not actual engineering design, that's separate.
That's preliminary work.
The work, the testing during construction, they have to test soil compactions. That wasn't typically laid out, that was an extra to us. I think they had a budget amount in there for it,
Yeah.
in the line item of the initial breakdown. For staking and all that.
Probably.
I think Kurt's may
Started
have
a
had
long
a
time
line
ago,
item
so
for
it's hard to
that.
remember all this stuff.
Okay, just make sure.
That's good. Okay. Did Kurt's have that in there?
I thought they had a line item for staking and something else, but I'd have to look back.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for the research.
Thanks, Sarah.
Move on to 9.1, policies relating to fundraising. This is just saying that, but policy committee met and they're going to report to us. Correct, who's talking?
Hold on. Fundraising, we're looking into a little more of that to get some of that straightened out and kind of in the right avenues. Board member compensation, we need to, BSD has brought out the state statute and we're getting that followed with, bring that up to par with that. So we're following their rules. And the nursing mothers, we are following our federal law and cleaning that language up to make sure that we are in compliance. So anything else on that?
Just, so for tonight with the policies, which what you'll be looking at is a first reading. So we'll approve a first reading of the nursing mothers policy. And then we want to table the first reading of the, what is it called?
Board member compensation.
Board member compensation.
Okay. So do you guys have any questions on either one of those policies, comments, discussion? I need a motion to approve the first reading of GCBDF and to table the first reading of BHD.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any other discussion, questions?
You looking for something, Larry? or-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, there's not a line item. Notified CSD.
Okay. Move on to 10.1, professional development, strategic planning.
Okay, so for this past month, we had some PD and we focused really on strategic planning. It was, I thought it was a pretty good session. We went through the same type of strategic planning that we've gone through with our parent groups and with you guys as board members, but we did it with our Custer Elementary, middle school and high school teachers in Custer. Then we came over here and did it with our Hermosa staff. It is always a little bit different when you do it with educators and, you know, parents and patrons in the community. But I thought it was really good. If you look at those reviews that were sent out, make sure you look and you see Hermosa educators and then also the Custer educators broken down. You can even see a difference from what you get when you're dealing with high school teachers down to elementary teachers. So I think there's some good things there that we can continue to build upon. One of the things that I know principals have meetings dealing with literacy lined up for helping out principals next week. Is that 20th, right?
Yeah.
For the 20th, plus we have some PLC work we want to do, but hopefully we'll have a little bit of time where we can also look at those reviews that are in your board packet and pull out specific information and dive a little bit deeper in with the teachers on what they really are trying to bring forward and answering some of those questions, the 3 questions that we asked them during that February 20th meeting. Other than that, I think the big thing is to note for curriculum for the state of South Dakota, this is a big month right now for career and technical education. There's workshops. There's Toby just attended a workshop in Rapid, was it for CTE? CTE's grants are open now. Obviously, we've applied for those. Other things that are going on right now with curriculum. If you've been following our legislative session. They're still working on some health types of curriculum. There's a discussion with what schools can do in more depth, and of course at a cost pertaining to first aid measures we can implement in our school systems. And I hate to say this, but also being required down the line for us. That's kind of it in a nutshell for professional development. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Move on to 10.2, grant information. This is the signed version of the grant that Tim talked about last month. Anything to add?
No, I think, the total amount this year that I think the CTE, just to kind of ballpark, I think it's like 285,000, which is a lot less than they had 2-3 years ago when you guys were applying for those grants for the CTE as I was up north. So it's, that money is becoming less and less each year.
Any questions, comments, board? Okay, move on to Custer County Youth Survey results, administered by Custer County Rise and Thrive.
Do you guys have any questions on that report that I sent you? Survey? I think that the one thing I appreciate the fact that they came in and visited with me. I invited them to come to the March, I think it's the March board meeting, and they're going to kind of give you a more in-depth report on, exactly what they found when they came here. And also, I think what's exciting about it is what they can do, Rise, to help us out as a school district. But I know I sent this out to our principals last week when after I received it. I think the things that are in here that, if you just want to read through it briefly, that kind of grab you would be looking at the risk factors that we have, and then also looking at the protective factors that we as not only a school but also as a community should be looking at bringing forward to help our kids out in the future. So, any thoughts on that, on any of the different factors?
Did this get to the Blackways person? It seems like it's been fine with Lawson.
Yeah, this is part of what she does, this helps us out.
Just make sure she got.
And she's actually one that's gonna help out with bringing more data forward for you guys. Good question.
She's part of that, this CTC group, so.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Move on to 10.4, school resource officer. Don't give me any information, so this is all you. Title.
Is there something? Yes, sir.
I don't see.
All the information was in that email Tim sent last Thursday.
It was in my
It's not in the board. So then make it to the board, then have it.
I thought I had that all.
You did, I saw it today. It was on there.
It's in your board.
Did Jeff say you didn't see it? Super.
It's in your
report.
Let's do it.
Just read my report.
I didn't.
It's in there.
I don't want to record it, there's something.
That's also.
Okay. All right, so one of the things that, again, I want to thank Travis and Heath for attending these meetings and stuff, but, in looking at the school resource officer position, I do want to make sure everybody understands that we have not gone a day without a school resource officer. And I thank the county for making sure that we have that individual there. But I think what we need to discuss tonight is what our options are going forward. As it says in my superintendent's report, so if you go back to 2008, you can see how much the district has paid. We paid random dollar amounts, and to be honest with you, I can't answer why we paid random dollar amounts like we did, but it was there. Up through 2019, that's when we paid $45,000. Again, in 2020, we paid another $45,000. The invoice that Sarah showed me for the fiscal year 21 resource officer showed $0 because they received a federal grant to help pay for that going forward. So come to my period of time being here, one of the first conversations that we had, the business office and myself was dealing with this. Of course, at that time, I went to the city, I asked the city about it, and we discussed a little bit, and over a matter of a couple of weeks, that's when basically we realized that it wasn't the city we're dealing with, it's now the county. Right? So with that being said, we've had some meetings, and I think the proposal right now stands at they would like to see us with the resource officer. Obviously for this year, it cost us about $65,000. And then the question is paying back pay, and how many years that would look like. And I guess my question with that is it depends a little bit on how many years did they receive federal dollars, where it was not necessarily county dollars to pay for that.
And that was for sure in 21, you said, but not 22 or 23 or 24?
Invoices just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So basically what had transpired was the person that sent the bills out took a different job elsewhere, and they don't know if it got overlooked with the new personnel or what had really happened.
But was it insinuated that they got this federal grant to pay 21, thinking it's an ongoing grant?
They can't tell us that either, whether or not that, because it all got put in their general fund.
So we don't even know if they may have got grant money, we just don't know.
Right, they were gonna do some checking the way I understood it, but nobody's gotten back to us on that either. So, but when we kind of left that meeting that day, not obviously the back pay part, but where we're in limbo at with the zero forward from 21 to now, they're really not, I wouldn't say they're not asking for that, but they really don't know whether or not it was there or it wasn't there. It's kind of just there. They've admitted fault, we've kind of admitted fault, both sides, we really don't know where it's at.
I find it hard to believe they wouldn't have record of what they've had for grants the last 4 years.
Right, but they can't tell, obviously the auditor wasn't in the meeting with us, and Marty and the commissioner has not gotten back to us either. So they were going to check, because that question was asked, but we haven't heard back.
So, and then we've had a line item in our budget every year, 45,000, and is crap just getting rolled back into the general fund every year because it didn't get spent? So it's not like we just saved up 45 grand every year, it's just we put it back into the general fund and used it.
So one thing that they are doing, obviously, as everybody has learned about the city and not having, and basically the people retiring and the reduction of force and everything that's happening, Marty has made it very clear that he does not want to leave us without a personnel at any given time. So they're willing to make the sacrifice. Last year, they kind of made a pretty good sacrifice, shorthanded and whatnot, to keep the position full. So.
And it going up to 65 is just basically the percentage of the time we have him for his full year. year.
So 65 is half of a,
It's like 2/3.
It's about 2/3 of the cost of what a deputy costs the department right now with their insurance and
so for
everything.
that 9 months, he's in the school.
Yeah, he is not really our employee, but he's our personnel, unless we have chaos that would pull him within our county somewhere that would do, otherwise he is inside of our building 4 days a week. So that's why, and the other thing they were looking at was they would like to know that we would be willing to go into a 2-year agreement or a 3-year agreement. So when they hire this employee, knowing that they have,
X.
yeah, so when they hire somebody, they know they got some longevity going into this deal. Now, obviously, we talked about, we would want to meet every year on both sides, just good business, make sure they're getting what they want out of us and we're getting what we want out of them. To make sure it's a good thing, just good business. And then as we got closer to the end of the term, let's get together because we all know inflation is probably gonna bring their end up a little bit more, so we might have to renegotiate a little more money. So, but it would stay solid at 65 over the next 3 years. So, and it wouldn't budge no matter whether or not the cost of the employee went up. We would stay at that. That way we knew exactly where to budget at.
So I think for tonight, this is really this is information for you guys to digest. And then what we will do is we will continue to work with the county to try to find out some of those things on what happened in the past. I think we also want to look at the length of that contract. One of the things that was brought to my attention deals with the number of days. As a school resource officer, are we basing it off of a 144 day, which if that's not 2/3,
No.
right? So I think there's some things there that we want to discuss a little bit more in depth with them as we work on a contract.
Because is he in the schools 4 days a week and then 1 or 2 days a week still throw the county?
It sounded to me like, no, that was his time off because he was here. Unless there was 911 somewhere.
It can be
So
based
it's only
on the
working
length of the day too.
Right.
If he's up down there at school at 7 o'clock, he's there until 4:30, then he is getting his time done.
Right.
So, but those are things I just think we have to have conversations with.
Do we need to, exactly, but do we need to maybe approve this year's pay to up that now, or do we want to?
For this school year?
For this school year, for 25, 26?
You could approve it tonight.
I mean, I'm asking you, what would you like to see happen for 25, 26?
I would say you wait until I bring you all the
Okay.
information.
So how does it work if for this school year, we, in our budget, only have 45,000?
So at the end of the year, you'd have to supplement the budget for that.
And I fully understand, I think it's great to have a resource officer, but we are also in budget crisis. We keep upping things here every 20,000. Adding up a lot. Where we're already trying to figure out how they have to cut $1 million. I get it, we need to do everything for the buildings, but seems like we're adding more and we're subtracting lately, so just a comment.
No, I think that's why, like I said, this is information for tonight, and we'll bring more to you, and then we can have deeper discussions on it, because we will be further along, we'll know a little bit more with where our legislators are at for the 26-27 school year, and we'll have to make some very difficult decisions.
Any other questions or comments? Resource officer? We'll move on to 11.1, superintendent's report.
I think the one thing that I want to talk a little bit about, I'm not going to go through obviously the entire superintendent's report, but just reminding everybody to stay engaged in the legislative session. Maybe you guys heard Governor Roy did not commit to anything, but we did have an upbeat in our sales for the month of December. I think they said it was up by 10%, which seemed like it's a big number. And so there was a discussion that maybe the big three would end up getting something, a little bit of something going into the 26-27 school year, so we want to be paying attention to that. There was a Senate bill last week, the property tax bill, that would basically take local control away from you folks. If you ever want to opt out for capital outlay or opt out for general fund, and that was done in the House. But then today, I think it's Senate Bill 223 or 225. They brought it out of Senate Education, and it went through. I think they only had 3 no votes against it. I would not be surprised if the Senate pushes that through, and that would also create a situation where any type of opt-out of any sort would go to a public vote. Information for you, just to take this in, last year there was 14 opt-outs, new opt-outs in K-12 public education. Out of those 14 opt-outs, only 5 were referred to a public vote, and they were overwhelmingly supported by the public. The other thing just to note, listening to the session, you do have a group of legislators that are very much opposed to any type of increase in sales tax still. There's still a possibility of changing the law where it's 4.2 right now, and it's supposed to sunset next year and go back to 4.5. And I think Carr probably will bring that forward. I don't know what will happen with it, but that would not be, how I look at it, would be good for the state with the economy. That's out there. The other thing that's out there right now is they said there was over 50 property tax bills that are out there hanging, and they don't seem to have enough support from anybody. And I think all you guys hear the same message I hear about property taxes and how high they are. It's very disappointing that they're not looking at some different types of revenue sources to support the programs they constitutionally have to support, being one K-12 education. So any questions with any of that? We are still expecting a cell phone ban bill coming again from, I think, Senator Carr. That's probably one of the big ones. Other than that, it's kind of starting to quiet down a little bit with education, except for the funding part of it, funding mechanisms. With strategic planning, the next step for us, besides just diving deeper in with the teachers and stuff, I do want to meet with former school board members, industry leaders, and I want to start with our seniors and do the same type of thing with them with the strategic planning, gather all that information. Once I get all that information gathered, then I will send that to Tom Oster and see if Tom wants to utilize some of that with what he has here with us with consulting around strategic planning. So hopefully that'll be able to get that done in the month of February into early March. I want to also just take a little bit of time and thank, I know Frosty's program is coming up, and thank Joey for all the work that they've done and their teachers did. It's probably one of the neatest programs I've seen, and that's dealing with the 2026 Elders Wisdom Program. It's neat to see people come back. It's neat to see the involvement from former school officials and recognizing some of these great folks that have worked with our kids in the district. Another thing I want to mention, because I think this is something that we talked a little bit about, actually when you guys interviewed me, but it's adult education opportunities. I'm working with right now community education of the Black Hills. They are excited about coming into the Custer School District. If you haven't, I hope that you can take some time to go to that link and look at that community education classes. It is amazing what they're willing to do. Obviously, they'd like to use our facilities, like our CTE building, to offer like different types of classes for our adults in our community. But one of the things that Erica and I talked about specifically was us reaching out. This would be something that we will be doing, but us reaching out to our partnerships in the community, industry partnerships in the community, and finding out what they need for a labor force. So if we can match like the classes that we would be offering at the school for adult education for the needs in our community, it's gonna be a win-win for us. And the classes are actually pretty cheap. She went through, you know, they're all a little priced a little bit different. If you're doing culinary arts, and a little bit more because you gotta pay for, you know, supplies and things of that nature. But we're excited to really get that growing. The other thing I want to mention is that I met with Tracy Bauer, from the Custer Youth Alumni Association, and I'm really excited about what they have going on, but I'm also excited about what potential we can develop with them and working on developing a 501(c) with them, under them, and then us putting our buckets that we need in there. And as Tracy and I talked, we think it's an opportunity for us as a school district to get some needs met, but it's also going to be a great opportunity for the Custer Youth and Alumni Association group to grow. Seems like right now they're kind of looking for what's their next steps going forward, so we're excited about that. And we also have a meeting with Black Hills Area Community Foundation on February 17th to jumpstart that CTE program. But we do still have a lot of questions that need to be asked on that going forward. Hopefully in the month of March, we'll be able to bring some of that information to you guys. That's it.
It's all okay. Any questions? Thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Move on to the administrator's report. We'll start with Dr. Rhonda Frederick.
Sure.
She was sleeping, so I figured I'd wake her up.
I have my report on there. Were you able to view the video that I sent? On your email, everybody's looking at it.
I didn't try.
Okay, well, when you have some time, it's just an overview. Were you able to see it?
It didn't stream very well where I was at, and
Okay.
I didn't take the time.
So we'll pick up on that next month, give you guys some time, because I did just send it out this last week. It's just an overview of what special ed is, just some guidance, some governance, and some, what my responsibilities are as a district, and some funding, information. So we have a few pairs that have finished their pair modules. I have those listed. And so they've been really working on trying to get those done before the year's over. I also am now doing the ELL program in the district, and so I'm working on a procedural handbook for kids that come in. We have to do a screening, and then from there we have to set up an education plan for them, kind of like an IEP, but it's an ELL plan. And so I will bring that forward next month for you to view. I don't know if you have to approve that or not. It's a procedure book, not a policy book, but just so that you know what's going on with that program.
What is ELL?
English language learners. I also have developed a developmental milestone chart for the pediatric and family practice offices, so I will be delivering it to your office. It's just kind of information for parents when they come in to see where their child is or where they should be at a certain age developmentally. And so if they say, I'm worried about my child, then they know we have our information to call and do some screening. So it's just getting that word out there more for early childhood screening. We are having our big screening on February 20th. We're actually doing a site here and a site in Custer Elementary. We're doing, and then we're going to hit the Y and all the daycares in the area to get them screened. And otherwise, April 29th is our Regina Bassel Memorial Track Meet, so we're working to plan that. It's getting, we're gonna kind of set it up like the Olympics. They're gonna have a torch, and it's also Autism Awareness Month, so we're gonna incorporate some of that. And we've ordered medals and participation medals, and so we're gonna really just hopefully have a good turnout with that. Participation forms will go home during parent-teacher conferences in March.
Thank you. Any questions, board? Clay?
Did a lot of great work on our last PD day, working with our teachers in PLC, and so far we've got a lot of good progress with our priority standards and of course our pacing guides. The next more challenging part is working on our assessments and getting those in our system and consistent across how we're working together. So I have been working on our site that'll be published next year, but it's been kind of a working year on our district curriculum site, and then putting all the information that we've done in the past together, and then working with the teachers to continue to build that throughout the year. So hopefully the goal is to have that done by May, and then it's a principal-led document right now in terms of me collecting the information, putting in there for publish in the future. But once it's there, then it'll be a working document for the teachers to actually have access to it, update their information as things change and as we get better at what we're doing. So that's going really well. One other thing that I have tonight is just I'm putting together a committee that will be working on an effort in the district, at least for our school there in the 712, to look at good behavior. What are recognizing good behavior that we have in the school? We do a lot on working with kids on academics and behavior and things like that, but what are the positive things that we're doing in our school to recognize kids for those things? And so this committee will work on recognizing kids. That'll be staff-led, so the staff will nominate kids or at least recognize them for doing that, and then we'll find some way to display that in the school, and then also at the end of the month have some kind of reward or something that we do for the kids that have been recognized. And so I just put that out today, and so we'll work with that committee to come up with some great ideas and start recognizing our kids. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Clay. Any questions for Toby?
So looking at our newsletter and kind of fitting that kind of was more CTD driven with like the pictures this year at FCCLA. I know we had our CDL kids. CDL class is very good, 3 in there right now, and keep me on my toes. Got good questions, we had a pretty good discussion. Went up to see Jesse in the county up there, and appreciate those guys letting us come out and his guys taking them through and kind of take them through a walk through the vehicles and things. He even said later on down the road, we might be able to get back up there and they'll let us take them around in the parking lot a bit, so that'd be kind of cool. See how all that works out. As Dr. Frederick said, went down to a kind of a regional statewide CTE conference, and they send out some surveys, and so I can send all these out to you, but a couple of them that kind of hit home, I think, was one of the students, this is parents who filled these out on their kids. One of them said one of the students took human development with Mr. Frederick. A lot of support, wants to become a doctor, so give him a lot of resources. Son's taken multiple CTE classes, enjoyed them all. Instructors have been great. One said, my son will be a certified welder, kind of a certificate in residential construction, and hold a CDL all at 18. Don't know anyone that would be more positively ready to impact the community. Another one, technology class. So kind of all of our classes sort of got some positive kudos from parents on kids that have taken it. So really like to see that. Also, 8th graders will take the NAEP next month. So if you have or maybe have had an 8th grade student every other year. We basically get chosen. They send out a letter that says you may get chosen. Well, it's every other year we get chosen. And it's 100% of our kids take it. So you'll hear about that probably coming up. They don't really give us the results, but they posted in the paper on how our stuff for the students do against the national average. Other than that, we're just plugging away, enjoying kind of the warm weather.
Questions? Joey?
Our 4th grade students are also gonna take that NAEP test, on March 5th, so that's coming up, same thing as the 8th graders do, so we're doing that. We've got Dakota Players coming next week that is sponsored by the Arts Council, which is a great week for our kiddos. We usually have spots for about 50 kids or so. They come in with auditions on Monday after school and cast all the people, start practice that night, and then do a performance on Saturday. And they have lines memorized, they have songs, and I mean, it's incredible. So if you haven't been, that's an awesome thing to come and see. Already mentioned our Elders Wisdom did go really well last week. That was a phenomenal and one of the most moving things that you can go to that I think that we do. It's very impactful for many generations, so that's always a neat thing. Ski trip is coming up for 5th grade also, coming up in the beginning of March, and kindergarten roundup is gonna be happening later in March a little bit, but we have those dates selected, so I think that's the highlights.
Thanks, Joey. Any questions, comments? Frosty?
Yeah, so I will shout out Kirsten if she's back there, the school counselor. She's awesome. Couldn't do it without her. I don't know what we'll do when she goes on maternity leave in a little bit. We might shut the school down. I don't know. Can't do it without her.
She can zoom in.
Yeah. She does have someone who wants to come in and sub a few days, so that'll be nice. She's worked hard on that. And speaking of Kirsten, me and her have been part of the comprehensive needs assessment workshops that have been happening out at Box Elder, which is a requirement for Title I. So we've been putting a lot of the data together, the parent surveys and things like that. So we've been working hard on getting that completed, and we have 2 more sessions, is that right? One tomorrow, hopefully it's the last one. Those are some long days, but we did have to move our Elders Wisdom, or we moved it because it conflicted with senior basketball night, and one of our senior basketball parents, her mom's being recognized for Elders Wisdom, so we moved ours to March 2nd now, which is a Monday, I believe. And then we've also scheduled our annual Soup and Sweets for March 19th, which is always a big event that we have coming up. So seems like January and February, our calendars are pretty empty, and then March hits, and it's crazy. It seems like every week there's something going on. So we're gonna enjoy February. Just hopefully get through March when it gets here. So we enjoy that because we can get a lot done in the classroom during those couple months. So besides that, it's going well.
Any questions for Frosty board? Comments? Kevin?
We've been slowly going through each vehicle, going through regular maintenance, work orders, stuff like that. We got rubber mulch scheduled for Joey's North Playground, with the new playground equipment that we got for the grant for Thursday. I'm planning on this, I've been out there prepping the site. Hopefully get that all put in and turn it loose Friday, depending on the weather with the truck showing up. They're gonna start installing equipment down here on Monday, February 16th, and it'll roughly take about 2 weeks to get done. That's going in existing rubber mulch, so as soon as they're done, we can just pretty much turn it loose. The warm weather, we've been cleaning up outside, trying to get that football field area looking decent and kind of clean it up, track coming up. And then just working with Armory Heat, just trying to catch up on it. Kind of, that one basketball game when it was negative, whatever, 10, 20 degrees out. I mean, the boilers are running 100%. After looking through it all and found some areas where we could replace some parts and hopefully make some improvements, but, yeah, that's about it.
What temp do you usually leave the armory set at?
Like, just the gym?
Yeah.
I'm not for sure. That, is tied into some controls. I have no idea where it's at. If I remember right, Joe, I called him and kind of picked his brain. He said he thought it was about 60 feet. So when I went down, at first I thought that I was pulling 100% outside, or 90% outside air. There's a hidden damper in there, and it wasn't closed. It was pretty darn closed all the way. It was still cracked open a little. I kind of adjusted the actuator.
Is it a pneumatic or electronic damper?
Electronic. So, I don't know what the controls, where they're at. I mean, where something controls it, turns the heat on and off. I'm not for sure where. Joe said he'd come down and go over it with me, so I was gonna, pick him up on that offer. But there's just a bunch of steam traps, a bunch of other stuff, condensate pumps went out, and, it just seemed like it was not a good month for the armor heat.
Because even last Sunday, when the volleyball had a scrimmage in there, it was not warm in there at all.
Yeah, and there might be a weekend schedule too.
That's what I was wondering, is there setbacks? 'Cause
But,
setback schedules in them big volume spaces are not a good idea. Takes too long to recover.
so, yeah, I was gonna visit with him, kind of pick his brain with as much as I can, but it won't surprise me if whatever's there is outdated and there's no way. I mean, the old gym here, they can't even tie into it and set. Luckily, we got a thermostat for it, and ductwork thermostat, but we got some way of controlling it, so I'm hoping that there's something similar at the armory. So,
And I mean, at some point, your long-term look ahead, you're gonna have to look at more than likely upgrading something in there before it gets, before you start freezing and breaking pipes, or it's some outdated.
yeah, we've been talking a little about it, so.
Thank you, Kevin. Anything else? Any further conversation, questions, comments? Thank you, administrators. I appreciate getting the highlights from you, see what you see from anything to add there? Yeah. Move on to 12.1. Our next meeting is March 9th in Custer. And I need a motion to go in and out of executive session for 1:25 to 4 negotiation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Travis, Keith, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. 5 minutes, at least.
Again, how are you? How are the girls?